Hey, everybody. Welcome to the YouTube Lead Gen Show, hosted by Christina Smallhorn and myself. Christina and I have generated millions of views on YouTube, tens of thousands of subscribers, and hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions from leads that we generated off our YouTube channels, our real estate YouTube channels. And on this show, we mastermind about using YouTube in our real estate businesses. Today, we got a very special guest, moderator of the Real Estate YouTube Mastermind Facebook group, Mr. Bill Olson. Bill, how are you?
High five. We practiced that for 10 minutes.
That actually worked out pretty well, I think.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. It's been great.
Yeah, okay, that's it. Let's end on a high here. We knocked it out of the park. We're good. All right, Bill, how you doing today?
Oh, doing well. Cold spell here. It's like 85.
Yeah, dude, 85. It's finally getting chilly here in Maryland too, which I'm like super excited about.
I know. I can finally get outside and start filming videos soon again and not be a sweaty mess.
Right.
I'm kind of excited. That's like what I really love about the fall coming is I don't have to like look like I just jumped out of a pool in all my outdoor videos.
And there's not as many tourists around. That's something I'm looking forward to.
Well, with everything going on, there aren't any. Regardless, there's just going to be even less. I wish I could have gone out in the middle of everything and just like filmed vacant Charleston. But kids and pandemic.
Right, pandemic and all.
And
and everything.
110 degrees with humidity. It's
Bill, where are you at?
Charleston, South Carolina.
In Louisiana, we're gonna be in the 80s this coming up week, and I'm like, holy cow. It's a Bill Olson sandwich.
Hey, that's what I
said. We said that.
All right. So, Bill, how long have you been on YouTube now? How long have you been doing this?
Morning, Philip.
Actively about a year.
Okay.
Actively producing content for YouTube. Before that, I was I really just used it as a place to dump my videos for easy access.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I put it on Facebook, I'd be like, all right, well, let me throw this on. Let me turn my notifications off. People keep texting me. As an easy place to say, oh, well, here's this video. Let me send it to you. And that's kind of what it was. Cause Facebook after 48 hours, they're like, we're going to make you hunt for this thing.
Right. Yeah. They don't really organize their videos very well. Like you literally have to like scroll through a timeline to find it. And even now they're putting a big emphasis on videos, but it's just not very organized. It's very hard to search and actually find the content that you want on YouTube, Facebook.
It's 100% curated. Like they tell you what they want you to see. And good luck searching for a video on Facebook.
Well, they want it a specific way. Also, it's the way you format your videos, how you burn in the captions. There's a method that they want that to look. But I will say that like I had an old video, very old. It's like 3 years old, about a guy that's kind of a local guy. He always rides his bike and collects his cans and everything else. And yesterday he passed away, and that video popped up for people. So I saw that it was getting shared and everything on Facebook, which I thought was kind of odd that people were able to locate that. Because I didn't share the video. I hadn't, put it out there or anything. I had said that he passed away, but that was
that is interesting. Like my experience with Facebook videos is that if you're lucky, they'll get views for about 1 week. Like that's, and then
if you're lucky for a week,
if you're lucky for a week. And then they're dead for forever. They're dead. I had one video I did in 2017. It blew up. It got like 900,000 views on Facebook within about 2 weeks, all organic. And then it was
total of about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes of view time.
Right. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, a lot of those views are like
3 seconds. 3 seconds, 51% of the video has to be on the screen.
Yeah.
If you're scrolling and it auto plays. So if you're scrolling slowly, then one view. Like you could be talking to someone scrolling and they count it as a view.
Yeah. it's nonsense. Like they do that because they want you to feel good and then pay them to get more views. Like you could literally be reading the post above it, and Facebook counts that as a view.
Yep.
It's nonsense, man. I don't know. That's just the nature of the beast, though. Really.
Most people that I see try to get views on Facebook, what they do is they just dump it in a bunch of groups. Because I'll go to one group and I'm like, I'll go to one group and I'm like, oh, I've seen that listing video. I've seen that listing video. I've seen that listing video. Oh, every group I visit, look, there's that listing video. And then they're like, oh, I got 30,000 views on that. I'm like, yeah, because you dumped it in 30,000 real estate.
Or I get the notifications on my phone. It's like, John Doe posted in this group, John Doe posted in this group, and it's all within like 3 seconds. And I think I'm like special because my phone's blown up. I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I know. It happens.
Marketing strategy. I'm just gonna
guerrilla marketing.
Spam everybody with my awesome listing video.
Well, I educate my sellers in the fact that, I know that you'll think that you've just gotten like 30,000 people have watched this listing video, but I explain them exactly what real estate agents are doing to inflate those numbers. And I said, you got to tell them to show you the back end analytics to see if people are actually watching that listing video, how many are actually watching. And I said, because I have no problem showing my back end analytics of my YouTube videos of your listing. I'll gladly show you that. I said, I guarantee, first of all, either the agent doesn't know how to look that up, or secondly of all, they're doing it to inflate numbers so you feel special. But it's not. That's us. I tell them, I don't have a problem. I said, I explained to them, I'd rather have 300 people in our area that are specifically looking for houses than a bunch of people from around the country that are real estate agents that are watching this video for 3 seconds. It's different.
Yeah, it's all about the numbers. Like people put too much emphasis on the numbers, and yeah, I'd rather have the right people watching my videos and have low view counts rather than everybody watching my video who don't really care. But yeah, it kind of makes them look good saying, I got 30,000 views on this listing video that I did for you. It's a bunch of nonsense though.
Yeah, but it's a good way to make you look smarter to your sellers when you explain it to them like that. They're like, oh, that's so sneaky. I'm like, I know. It is.
Right.
Quantity over quality.
Yeah.
So Bill, you've been on for 1 year on YouTube. How long do you think it took you before you started really generating leads from your YouTube channel?
Longer than I had hoped. But, going back to that, what we were just talking about, there was that, get it in front of as many people, I don't care who they are, to watch it, and YouTube will pick it up. And so I had the wrong audience on my channel for the longest time. So once I made that switch, it really kind of halted everything. And it was scary. I was like, I'm not getting any views. I'm not getting any comments. I'm not getting anything. And then, but like you told me, Malcolm and Christina, YouTube's resetting everything on your channel right now. And that takes longer than starting your channel. And so basically I had to wait for YouTube to wipe out everything that it had found out about me and my viewer and start over. And that was probably early this year when you started your course. Malcolm, was that January, February-ish?
January 2020.
Yep. So then, I shifted my focus at that point, closed my first lead in June, $700,000.
Really nice.
Yeah. And then just closed another 330, got 500 under contract, and $2 million buyers right now that I'm working with. So once it reset and it started, and that's all with not making videos during the pandemic because I had my kids.
Right.
Well, my wife was working. But funny enough, it helped because if you look, I challenge everyone to look at their analytics right when shutdowns started, and tell me let us know if your views spiked, because people had nothing else to do but sit at home and consume content.
Mine tanked.
Did they really?
Tanked during the pandemic. Tanked.
Mine spiked.
Yeah, mine went up as well, I think.
And then it normalized a little bit higher after that, but it definitely had a peak in there, it was kind of neat to watch, even though was like, I need to put out content. But by the time the kids were in bed, I was just beat.
I would say when it first started, nobody was interested in real estate, when it very first started, like the first like 6 weeks. And then after that, it picked back up again.
Like March, I didn't even know what was gonna happen with the real estate market. I was expecting like everything to completely shut down here in Maryland. So yeah, March was kind of a weird time.
Mm-hmm.
And
but I think our channels have different focuses too.
Yeah. I was gonna say you get a slightly different audience.
All three, I'm very, very hyper local on my channel. So I think because of that, there were a lot of people like trying to get out of these bigger cities.
Right.
And move down here where, we have above average cost of living. But when you look at New York and Chicago and, New Jersey, where I'm seeing people come from, like they're trying to just bail. They're like, oh, well, now I can work from home. I'll just work from anywhere. I mean, guy coming from Chicago, because of property taxes alone, it'll be a $10,000 raise for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. And that's the trend right now, too, is people moving from the bigger cities into these little bit more rural areas. But yeah, I mean, that's interesting what you're saying. So like we were just talking about people spamming Facebook groups with their Facebook videos, but the equivalent to that on YouTube is this whole WLC, watch, like, comment culture that's kind of erupted.
Illegal.
In a lot of these spaces.
It's legal. It's just dumb.
Against the terms and services of YouTube, yeah. And could get your channel
not illegal. Right.
It's
YouTube. But then you got to start over anyway, so you might as well just start it over on your own.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't help. Like
it's not a hard pill to swallow, though. It's like when people had when they were getting when I joined that group, I started getting 200 views, and that was better than what I was getting, which was 30. And then they have to go back and reset it, and they're back to 20 or 30 views. They're like, my videos are doing terrible, but they're really not doing terrible.
They've just found the right audience.
They're just taking a minute to reset. Jeremy Knight was notorious. Like when he was like, and then he would still share it, and I catch him, and he's like, oh. And now that he's like, thank God I stopped doing that. I'm like, I told you so. Stop. Told you so.
Yeah, it's pretty bad advice. Yeah, I mean that'll do permanent damage to your channel. And like, you share it in all these places to get agents to go and watch and like it, but they're only watching for like 10 seconds. They're watching long enough to like it and leave a comment, and they back out of there. So I'm sure everybody's audience retention's just tanked when you have all these agents flooding into your videos to do this kind of nonsense.
And I like some people would get upset. Like I put my video out every week, and I try to watch everybody else's video, but nobody's watching my video. I'm like sitting there reading these. I'm like, the amount of desperation that I'm reading in these posts is so sad. Yeah, it's sad.
Funny story. I'm going out with a buyer tomorrow who is an agent who found me on YouTube.
Well, there you go. That's different though, because they had intent.
Right, their intent was different, but it's just kind of funny that we're talking about this, and I have an agent relocating who found me on YouTube.
That's good though.
She actually found me, and she talked to an agent she found on Zillow, and which is kind of weird, but and she's like, we're kind of going between the two. And then the other day, she's like, we told him we're not even coming.
Well, there you go.
They probably want to pick your brain about YouTube and videos and all that stuff as well. That's probably part of it.
Probably. Yeah.
Lock and key.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Have you met Malcolm?
Yeah, it's a great lead source. It's a free.
Here's a course.
It's a free, great lead source. I mean, and people ask me about it all the time. I think it's one of those things that there for a while, people are like, ow. Like YouTube was like the redhead stepchild of video, places. They're like, oh,
it was for a long time. I never understood that. Like there wasn't, people kind of looked down on it. And I think it's because people couldn't figure it out. It is a little bit different. And they're so used to Facebook, and they would put their Facebook videos on YouTube. Of course, they wouldn't do very well. And they'd be like, well, YouTube sucks. Like, no,
I got 3 views. My mom, my dad, and my wife.
Yeah.
This is so great.
Every platform's unique, and like you have to optimize for that platform. A video that's optimized for Facebook is not the same as a video that's optimized for YouTube.
Yeah, and it's just it wasn't there wasn't any at the time. I don't know when everybody else started, but when I first started, there wasn't any. There's only like 3 real estate agents that were on the platform. So I was like, there was another guy that was out of Tampa, and I'm like,
Oh, right. I've seen that guy. His videos are so boring.
Well, I haven't seen him in forever either. Like, I don't know if like he just disappeared off the face of the earth or whatever. But anyways, that besides the point. There was this guy. There was another guy. Graham Stephan was one of them. There was like
Finney, I think.
Andrew Feeney was another one. He called himself the real estate geek. There's another one. There was just like they were all guys. There were no chicks. a lot of them I felt were very like pretty basic videos. I'm like, oh my gosh, why? What is going on? How could they make this crap work and I can't? What am I doing wrong? You know, there was a lot of that, but I figured it out. I got my stride.
Yeah. You know, like even like Graham Stephan, like his videos are very basic. He edits all his own videos in just Apple iMovie. Like it's nothing fancy at all. It's just some very basic like graphics and everything. But he's great at like getting your attention and hooking you with his content, and the words coming out of his mouth can really hook you and keep your attention.
His cadence of his speak, the way he cadence stuff, and he really does know how to speak to the camera. I talk too damn fast. I can't help myself.
All right.
I'm like diarrhea of the mouth. That's how I do things.
Same thing with Meet Kevin, right? Lately, his videos have like zero editing, zero B-roll, zero graphics or anything. It's literally just him talking for 20 minutes, but he's able to like keep your attention that entire time. And I think that's the skill that we need to be focused on. What
I can't listen to him for 20 minutes.
Well,
I honestly cannot. I find him very obnoxious.
Second stimulus check is coming, guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I find him very obnoxious. I talk way too fast, Ellen. I sympathize. Maybe it's a chick thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been trying to slow it down lately on my videos. So I think
don't go too slow.
Yeah, it's a fine line. You're right. Like you don't want to go too slow, but
I've never thought you talk too fast. Because you'll stop and you'll enunciate certain words and you'll actually use your hands, and I'm like, God, that's genius. I'm sure you're not even thinking about it and just doing it, but I could be wrong.
I sometimes have to fight the urge to have my hands in the frame. I'm like, no, get out the frame, Malcolm. Put those down. But sometimes
for me, every once in a while, you just like see this, like because I talk with my hand, but the camera is so close, it's like, what's that? What's this?
But there's other channels that have nothing to do with real estate. They use their hands. That is their there's many that do that to make that point. You know, like, and I think when you do that, it does. That is almost like a transition. That is something that grabs your eye at a focal point. I don't think if you talk with your hands, you talk with your hands. I don't think that's a.
If you want to shut me up, tie my hands behind my back.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think you're right there. Like one thing you notice if somebody's reading a script or they're memorizing a script and trying to rehearse it, they kind of like have this blank stare on their face and it's very boring and it's very like this. And one thing I've been trying to do is get much more animated, and I try to get animated my face and my movement. I try to like really get in there just to make it seem more organic, more natural. That's how you naturally speak to people.
So I got
my hand movements part of that.
I don't think you're robotic. I mean, maybe, I don't know.
I try not to.
I recently got one of these guys. Here, there we go.
I got one of those. Yes.
Yeah. It's a teleprompter for my camera. And I'm not using it on all my videos because, again, like you said, you can become kind of robotic.
Yeah.
But what I've found it's great for is if there's a lot of numbers or definitions that, because then my editing, I save time because I'm not like, okay, say that. And then you're like, okay, now I need to say this. But I can just have those stats or anything that I need to remember or recite up there. And then I don't have to look away and remember what that definition is.
I put out a sticky note. I don't have the fancy teleprompter. I put it as a sticky note right underneath the camera.
Yes, Beverly, I have a dead cat. That's one of my favorite terms to use. What's that? It's my dead cat.
Like my big old dead cat.
Got my big old dead cat.
So one thing that I've been doing is, or one thing I like doing is, I've been trying not to be too scripted lately. I'll instead do bullet points and just kind of wing each bullet point. But you're right. If I have a lot of numbers, I do script that out just to make sure I
Mhm.
have that right, because people would absolutely correct you in the comment section. And what I
Yep.
do is I'll just read a line. I'll memorize like one line at a time. I'll say the line and just cut, say the line, cut. And yeah, I have a lot of cuts, but if you do it right, like people don't really even notice that. And you can also hide the cuts by adding some B-roll over top
Right.
of the
I'm
as well.
famous for it.
Yeah.
Famous for it.
Like I just did a video about the best neighborhoods to PCS to.
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of walking that gray line of what is the best
Right.
neighborhood. So I did it all stat based. The video is so boring. However, it's, you know, what's the average appreciation over the past 4 years for these areas? What are the great school rankings? So it was a lot to remember. So I just put it on that and pretty much just tried to read it as engagingly as I could. But it's probably not going to get a ton of views. But, you know, for those people that are PCSing here, that's something they want to know. You know, what's that past appreciation, so that, you know, in 4 years when they're leaving and I'm sending that referral up to Malcolm because they're going up there. Hey,
Bowling airport, Fort Meade. Got a bunch up here.
They're not bringing money to the table. They're not, you know, that's what they want to know. And they want to know what the schools are like for the resale and all that. So I just used straight stats, and that's why this came in handy, because I didn't have to. And then my editing was just super quick because I had just kind of read everything and I didn't have to just stop and like, okay, 27.342789%. You know, I didn't get that far into it, but it just made it easier to edit too.
And I do try to display numbers. If I'm spouting out a bunch of numbers, like that's so hard for somebody to track in their mind. And that's when I do try to have numbers on the screen, because that can be pretty tricky. So
I think it was Jeremy. Jeremy did one, and I think he got a stat wrong, if I remember. And he actually put on like the bottom, actually it was this. Like,
Yeah, I've
like,
done that.
Oh, okay. I think it was him. I forget who did it, but it was a neat way to, like, you called yourself out for being human.
Yeah.
Like
I've
right
done that.
in the video, and you just, instead of re-recording it, like, because once you're editing it and you realize you said something wrong, like, what are you going to do? Like, put those same clothes back on, like sit in the same spot and just record one line? No,
sometimes you can come back in and go, hold on a second. By the way, that last stat was wrong. It should have been blah, blah, blah.
I like
and
that.
And you could do stuff like that, you know, because first of all, it makes a break in the pattern. So it gets your attention back to what we're talking about.
I like that.
Yeah,
I really like that. Now I want to mess up on purpose in my next video.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Because you do it on purpose, then it's going to be like, well, that was staged, you know.
Well, just like say a wrong number and then go back and add that in.
Right. Like Charleston is known for its fancy unicorns. Like, oh, hold on, guys, let me just correct that. I didn't.
I meant Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's Bigfoot.
It's really Bigfoot. Bigfoot and UFOs.
And see, I'm like so goofy. When you said Bigfoot, I'm thinking I would get a Bigfoot costume and try to walk through the forest with Bigfoot.
You're more in Bigfoot country down there, though.
In Louisiana?
Yeah.
Bigfoot's like northwest.
Yeah,
like,
I
think it's in more like rural areas.
I thought it was more like in California, in the red.
What do you have now?
They're in like
Chupacabra, swamp monsters.
We have
probably the swamp monster, right?
We have like snakes and alligators, and we have real stuff that kills you.
Oh, real stuff.
Yeah,
real stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's enough real stuff that kills you here that we don't have to worry about.
You don't need to make up stuff.
Yeah.
So Kate says Big View is a free teleprompter. So I'm guessing that's like an app that you must be talking about. But yeah, I recently bought that same teleprompter that you have, Bill. That was with in our
Tim Macy. Yeah.
Tim Macy is shouting that out. And I'm starting a new channel for my I'm adding a few people to my group, my real estate group, and I'm starting a new YouTube channel just about my city. I'm gonna start making just that hyper local content, just because my main channel I've kind of gotten much broader with that. So I got a new teleprompter just to kind of help these other people make videos as well.
I think your mom was doing it.
Yeah, I got my mom. She's gonna get her up and going. There's a bunch of 55 plus communities around here. So here's what I'm doing. I'm actually very excited about this. I hired somebody to write blog post about each of these 55 plus communities, what the amenities are, what the local attractions are, the house ranges and everything. So they're writing the blog post, and then I'm going to use that as like a rough outline for a script for my mom to record. And because I would love it if I could outsource somebody writing my scripts for me, but I'm not really sure if that's going to work out very well. But at least giving me a blog post that's kind of
They've done the
more
research. Just let them do. You're paying them to do the research.
And now I have an outline. And so I'm kind of excited about that because I think blogging and YouTube videos go together like peanut butter and jelly. I would not.
So Christina, how long do you have to wait?
Oh yeah, tell me about your little tidbit there, Christina.
We talked about this before we went live.
Well, because you got to wait for your video to like season in the YouTube world. So before you do that, I would just, because you put out one once a month. So if you put one at the beginning of October, a video out at the beginning of October, don't make a blog post until the beginning of November with that video. So give it the whole month for it to season in the YouTube world before you make a blog post about it.
And I mean, that does make sense to me. So you want YouTube to have an opportunity to test out your video, get very clear and clean data about who's watching your video, who's not watching your video before you start promoting it out to other people. That does make sense.
Unless
put it on Facebook right away.
No. But
all
unless,
the group.
All
unless
of them.
you have
Every
a
single
very
one you're in.
specific, like like darn well that this video is going to do. You have it like your blog is blowing up. If you have one of those blogs that as soon as you put out things, immediately you're going to get thousands of readers. Then then do that, because then it's sending a signal like, oh my gosh, 1,000 people that we don't know are coming new to our platform from this blog. Then they'll promote it. That makes sense. But
and then Google will probably pick up your blog.
Right. And a good portion of us, though, I would say most people that are in the real estate world do not have a blog that gets thousands of readers in one day. So I would wait that 30 days.
Yeah. And so I had a blog post I wrote like 3 years ago about moving to Annapolis, Maryland, and it didn't do all that great. It eventually got to like the very bottom of page 1 of Google. And then I made 2 videos about Annapolis, and I embedded those in that blog post. And within like literally 2 weeks of me embedding those videos in my blog post, it shot up to the #1 result on Google for moving to Annapolis, Maryland. And the Google algorithm is not that different from the YouTube algorithm. What they track is what known as your bounce rate, which is how long, if somebody clicks on your article, how long are they on that article before they go back to Google? And so if you can keep somebody's attention and keep them on your article watching your YouTube videos for like 20 minutes, that's a great signal to the Google algorithm. And that's why I really like blogging as well.
My most popular videos from my blog were about HOAs.
Oh, like people researching HOAs?
Yeah, HOAs, and because our area is kind of weird with HOAs. They're not real specific. Some are really super strict, and then others are like they have them. They have articles of incorporation and everything, but no one enforces crap. Like so. Yeah.
Yeah, HOAs. Yeah, they can be a pain in the ass, pain in the neck sometimes. See, Paul Lycan says, Bill, we need to make videos together of biking to our favorite breweries in South Carolina and Florida. Do I smell?
It'll be hard to ride our bikes after the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you can get a ticket for drinking and driving if you're on a bicycle. I'm not being funny. I think you.
Right. Yeah.
I think
you get a ticket for driving like a lawnmower and drinking at the same time.
I know someone who's gotten a DUI on a lawnmower. Not me. It was a friend. It was not me.
There's Bobby Creek in LA and Texas.
Monster in LA and Texas.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. I smell a YouTube topic, video topic.
Not for tiny homes.
Does someone say blog? Yeah, Jeremy Blayton does a lot of blogging. That's where he gets a lot of his leads, is people find his blogs, and he does very specific blogs that actually do rank on YouTube or on Google for like very specific communities and stuff. I've been talking to him a lot about blogging. How do you find quality blog writers for that, Malcolm? Yeah, so I go to Upwork.com, and I found some good blog writers, and I found some bad ones. Recently, what I recommend is hire like 3 different people to write 3 different articles for you and just kind of see how you like them. I heard one guy, I did it by like hourly, and I was like, okay, the maximum time, you can set like a limit on Upwork, the maximum time allowed that they can work on it, and the shortest amount of time is like 5 hours. But I honestly only expected this guy to take like 1 hour to write this really simple blog post. But no, of course, the guy used all 5 hours and charged me $100, and it's like a really crappy blog post.
Yep.
So obviously I'm not using him again, but I did find somebody else out of those 3 people that wrote me a fantastic blog post. She only did it in an hour and a half, so it only cost me like $30, and is a great blog post. It's ready for me to upload right on there. I didn't have to do much to optimize it for the search term or anything. She takes like a week to get back to me, but that's my recommendation, is hire like 3 people to write blog posts for you. And the more resources you can send them, the better. And my strategy is I'm going to use this as an outline. They've done the research for me. So I could literally like read this blog post and then kind of summarize it in my own words in a video, or have my team members do that for us as well.
I used to enjoy blogging, but then I was like, ugh, this is like really a lot of work.
It's
And
not
then I can
fun.
make videos. It's quicker.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, blogging is it really is so much more about the SEO and everything. So it's just not as much fun. Like
It
you
makes
have
it
to,
not fun.
yeah, like you have to have a search term, and you have to, have
Thread
a
it in
keyword
there.
ratio.
Mhm.
Like you have to use the exact phrase like 8 times per 1,000 words, and it's all this other nonsense. And you have to worry about backlinks. It is kind of a pain in the neck, but
Yeah, it's just
Too
it's
much
like,
work.
it's kind of like baking a cake. You know, like if you miss one ingredient in that blog post, it will never be found.
yeah,
You know?
there is a formula to it.
Yeah, and then, like if you miss the salt, the cake just doesn't taste quite as good. It did okay, you could eat it, but it wasn't as good. You know, like it's kind of, that's how blogging is to me. I did like it. I like to write, but it wasn't writing how I would write naturally. You know,
Right.
and so when it got to be that formula for me, I quit. I ended up quitting because I was like, this isn't fun for me anymore. So
I mean, I wonder if that could get you some more exposure, though. If you maybe hired somebody to summarize your videos, type it into a blog post. If you had your articles ranking on Google for tiny homes or something like that.
If you had the video, I mean, it would probably be cheaper because they could do it quicker.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, write a blog post on this video, and then you're
Yeah.
like, okay. Done.
But my goal is not to get more real estate leads. Like I shifted my focus, because it used to be to get real estate leads. Now it's not to get real estate leads. Now I want to get companies. I want to get not real estate companies. I want to get manufacturing companies where they're building modular or
And then they
manufacturing.
scam you.
And or tiny homes or whatever. But I would like to have those. Those would make sense to put them in as a blog.
Right.
That would make sense. I should do that on those 2. But I am creating another. I've been saying this for freaking a month, but I'm making another website just specifically for my YouTube channel. Not real estate related, because I'm only going to put it in my about section.
Yeah. I mean, that could be another value add, that they get an article as well as a video. Another good thing about articles, which I'm kind of experimenting with now, is that you can do the Google pay-per-click ads to send traffic to your article, that then that article could have your videos embedded in there. So maybe just be another marketing thing that you can do.
Let me know how that works. That doesn't.
Yeah. We'll see how it works. I'm still experimenting.
Spending money. That's not what we're about.
Right.
That something doesn't sound right about that.
But another cool thing you can do with your videos, Bern McGovern from San Diego. He's got a great YouTube channel, living in San Diego.
I love his thumbnails a lot of times.
He's got really good thumbnails.
Both of those guys out in San Diego. Dan
Dan Parker.
Dan Parker.
Packer.
He's got really good thumbnails. Yeah. I like his thumbnails a lot. But what Bern was doing is he took his videos, found somebody in Upwork, and then they created a relocation guide PDF based on the content in his videos. So they pretty much typed up what he had in his videos, top 10 places to live and 10 things to know or whatever else. And he's got now a PDF that he can use as a lead magnet. And that's something I was planning on doing as well for my city. Just another Another thing to add to the list of crap to do.
I have my lead magnets actually do fairly well. They're usually a little bit further out as a lead because they don't want to contact you yet.
Mm-hmm.
But they usually put a phone number and an email in there to get them. I use Lead Pages, and actually that's where I got my $700,000 closing. He did that back in like December or January, and then I didn't talk to him until like February, and he was like, sorry, I've just been busy, here's what's going on, my company's transferring me down there, blah 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 blah. And so he never responded, but I put him in my system for follow-up, and he ended up reaching back out to me, and that was that.
Wow. What's the lead magnet that you had? It's a relocation
guide?
It
was just for a relocation guide. It's super simple. It's, we cover 3 counties here. So basically it's 1 page of a PDF per town with, hey, here's what's there. Here's what the average real estate price is. And then there's a link to my website that goes to all the homes that are currently for sale in that town. And it's a bunch of bullshit.
Right. Yeah.
It's very basic, but it puts everything in one place for people. And the more complicated you get with it, the less they're going to look at it. People need basic, simple, take this, look at it. And
what we think is, simple, boring, easy information. I forget all the time that people they don't do this every day. So they all that stuff that we think, oh my God, how many times we're going to hear this in our lifetime. This may be their second home they've ever bought. So they forget it. I just recently, the woman I was selling I'm selling her daughter a house. She used to be a real estate agent, and she's asking me questions, and I'm like, you used to be a real estate agent, but if it out of sight, out of mind, you'd be surprised if you were completely unplugged from this business, how long it would take you to forget stuff,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And things change, especially now with the market. The market changes quite rapidly. The market's completely different now than it was last year.
No way. Really?
Or last week.
Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah.
No.
When's the last time you sold a house, Christina? Come on. All those damn YouTube videos.
Yeah, I know.
So Kate says, should we post links to Google My Business? So my business page on Google. The Google business page, yeah.
Below your I would say it would be below your email signature, or where you put your social media links. There's nothing wrong to put a link with your Google business if they go into your description of your video. I wouldn't try to pull too many people off platform from YouTube in your about section or in the icons of your banner. But if they're going into the description of your videos and they're looking for that kind of information, I don't think there's anything wrong with putting that kind of stuff in there.
Yeah, and the Google business page, it's a little tricky. I'm still trying to figure that beast out because you can make posts in there, but I've tried posting YouTube videos and it just keeps it as a text link. It doesn't show the thumbnail or anything like that, which is really frustrating. So it doesn't really work very well for that if that's what you're referencing. And then I've
Google,
also tried,
if you're listening, change that for us, please.
Yeah, please, come on. And I've tried uploading my YouTube videos to my business page, but that doesn't work out either. They say it has to be less than 2 megabytes. So I'm not really sure exactly what the best way to integrate these two, unless maybe if you did how on your community page you can do a GIF from your video and then just have a text link to your video. Maybe you could do that on your business page. You know what? I just thought of that. I'm going to try that.
Let us know how it goes.
Speaking of pages, all right. I don't know, Bill. Do you have a community page? Do you have a community feed yet?
I don't. I know. I want to, but it's more of a time commitment thing for me.
On YouTube?
On Facebook?
No, I'm talking about YouTube. There is a tab within your channel called the community tab.
Let me see here.
And that's one of those little places, again, that people kind of oh yeah, well, no one ever responds to it. You'd be surprised how many people don't respond to it, but they watch it. It's one of those things.
So videos, playlists, channels, and about, and then magnifying glass.
Yeah, Christina does hers very well. Like the best that I've seen, better than most big YouTubers.
So most people on YouTube will make some kind of post, and it's usually about them. But if you ask them kind of questions, just like you would, yeah, here it is. So I actually take these pictures from Facebook because real estate agents ask all the time, like ask questions all the time. That's actually me. That is a step within that was it within a cabinet. I thought was really cool.
340 reactions. Yeah.
Yeah. So it does create that, like, this came from another person's a post, and people don't have to know that it really wasn't my client. They don't know. And like the only thing that you can put here that moves is a GIF or GIF. You have to do that. Like, this came from another real estate agent. I'm like, what do you think of decorative toilet seats? You know, people have opinions. You know, so I let them.
So how do you get a community tab?
How many subscribers do you have right now, Bill?
977. I'm almost there.
33 more, you'll have it.
Okay.
33 more, you'll have it. So you have a community
All right,
tab.
so just start posting it in different groups, and maybe I'll.
Yeah, I post every single day. I post something every single day. Just one thing to get people back to the page.
Right. And I've done that before to get feedback on different thumbnails as well. I've posted like, hey guys, what do you think the best thumbnail is in my community tab? And I've even asked people, you can do surveys like, hey, what's the best title for my next video? Or what type of content do you guys want to watch me make as well? You know, that all that stuff can be really helpful. Jeremy Knight, I watched part of his recent video, and that's what he did. He said, hey, I asked you guys a question. You said you want videos about this, so here I am. And he showed his community tab stat of him doing a poll of what type of content his audience wanted to watch.
I'll ask people too, because I started, because of Javier Vidara, I started doing live streams on Sunday. And I will ask people in my community tab, like, what questions they want me to answer about, you know, whatever kind of thing.
Right.
You know, what's surprising to me is last week I got a lot of questions about being a real estate agent itself, which I thought was odd.
Look at you.
Market's hot. Everyone's jumping in. Easy money, everybody. Easy money.
That's what somebody asked the other day on one of them. They were like, why'd you get into real estate? I was like, I heard it was dope cash for doing barely anything. 13 years later,
I had to show sweet houses and get paid.
Yeah. Gonna roll up in my Benz in a month because it's so easy. And then I was like, after 13 years, I know they lied. You know?
Every time I get out of my car, it's like in slow motion.
Yeah, right.
Camera pans in on my foot hitting the ground.
But I've always worn stilettos this high, you know.
Right.
Skin tight.
Oh, you wear stilettos, Malcolm?
Oh yeah.
Every time I show property.
Mm-hmm.
The wind
everyone has their ideal client.
Yeah, I'm ready to buy 3 $1 million houses for investment.
Yeah. So Bill, so you said that you got that using the lead magnet. How would you rate YouTube leads versus other leads, right? How do you think they stack up?
I would say better than any other lead. I think hands down. And I say that because by the time they call you, they feel like they know you. Mm-hmm. And, you know, everyone says still like, oh, well, you know, referrals from a friend are still like the number one. Well, we're in an age now where if I'm talking to Malcolm, he's like, I'm gonna buy a house. It's like, oh, well, you've got to call Christina because she's the best. You know, 10, 15 years ago, he's gonna pick up the phone and call you. Mm-hmm. Today, he's gonna go online and he's gonna find out who the hell you are before he calls you. Mm-hmm. It's not as instant for the most part as it used to be. And, you know, if you have that digital YouTube presence, you know, if you tell your people like, hey, here's some videos about me. If you have anyone, you know, pass this along to them with my number. Mm-hmm. But, you know, before we went live, we were talking about Facebook leads. You know, okay, I get, you know, anywhere from 3 to 7 leads a week from YouTube. You know, whether they respond to me or not, you know, if they're from the lead magnet, I could pay money and get 200 leads from Facebook. Right. But it's quantity over quality. And which do you prefer? Do you want to have to reach out to these people who just kind of clicked on something and it's probably not even their number. Like, this is Susan's number. She gives my number out to all real estate agents. Please stop calling. You know, how many times we heard that from Facebook leads? Or do you want someone picking up the phone and calling you saying, hey, there's an actual line I heard from someone and we're under contract right now. You've been our realtor for 2 weeks already. This is just the first time we've been reaching out to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that trust that was already built and I didn't even know it.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely. I mean,
you know, that conversion rate right there, if people are calling you, the conversion, you don't even have to respond right away. You get your life back too. Facebook lead comes in, you're like, oh, hold on, kids, can't play football. I gotta take this call from Zillow or
speed the
from
lead.
Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speed to lead. I've forgotten to respond to people from YouTube.
They'll answer you
2
back.
days, 2
Yeah,
days, 3
they will.
days. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta email these people back. And they always say, thanks for getting back to us so quickly. I'm like, well, that was easy.
Yeah. It's a different expectation.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. I don't know why that avatar changes once you have a YouTube
Because
channel.
they've picked you already. You don't
Right.
need to convince them to work with you. They've made that decision.
Okay.
Once they've made the decision to pick up the phone, call, text, or email you, they're now invested
Mm-hmm.
in you. So as long as you don't, you know, do anything to piss them off or just never respond, you know, they're pretty much going to work with you at that point because they have that intent.
Right. And I've noticed that people seem to be like consumers are kind of sick of the pitchy type of scripted conversations anyways. So they already when they're watching a video, they know that they're not going to get a pitchy kind of, unless that's your kind of channel, but they know what to expect from you because that's what you're delivering on your channel in the beginning.
Yeah, they already know your personality. They feel like they know you already.
They
Like
want to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like when somebody watches a video and they see your facial expressions and hear your voice and see your mannerisms and everything, like it's firing the same parts of their brains as if they were there face to face with you, looking at you in person.
Right.
So that builds that relationship on a much deeper level automatically with them, which is fantastic.
Yep.
And
then if you look at your viewers too, where they come from.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about this a while ago that, you know, my number 2 is TV, which means that people are letting me into their living room to talk to them about Charleston.
Where they're watching your
where they're watching my videos. Number 1 is phone, and not far behind that is TVs.
That's interesting.
And,
wow.
Mine's like 99% mobile.
Yeah, mine's mostly mobile.
Mobile homes.
No, but mobile phone.
Mobile devices inside mobile homes.
It's funny because you know what's really funny about that is that if I have a video take off, let's just say it's about tiny homes, they're like, well, you have a channel about tiny homes. Then my next video takes off and it's about manufactured homes. Well, you have a mobile home channel. Then I have another one that's about manufactured homes and on modular homes, and they're like, well, you make videos about modular homes. I'm like, you guys, like, I make videos about alternative housing. That's what my channel's about. It's not because I made videos about tiny homes. It's about all sorts of homes. But they always want to attribute to like one lucky video. That's the only reason.
You got
why.
lucky.
Yeah,
you got lucky.
That video with 1.7 million views. You just
1.8.
got lucky. You didn't put any effort into that.
1.8.
Excuse me. 1.8.
Oh, sorry.
Get it right.
Hi, I'm Christina. I had
another
1
100,000
million
views last week.
But if you had told me that I would have a video that would get almost 2 million views in less than a year, I would have said you're full of baloney.
Yeah, that's wild.
I mean, like, I can't believe that it's still, like, to this day, still growing. Like, it's nearly 1.8 500 5 whatever. Anyways, I can't read.
a lot
a lot
more than we have.
1.85. That's where it's at.
Well, let's talk about that. How do you get a video to get 1.85 million views in less than 12 months?
Well,
You don't put
Are
any
you
effort
crying?
into it, right? You don't put any
No.
thought
I'm so
into it. You
happy.
just kind of turn on the camera, you just kind of wing it, and then you shared it on the Facebook groups, right?
no,
And
well,
Those are all filters.
I knew that I had something going when I had made a video about a couple manufactured homes. So I kind of knew that manufactured home was the key word that was getting people to come to my channel. Not I didn't do any magic soup or anything like that with doing research about that. I figured out that it was starting to work. And then I knew that if I did a video about something that was interesting to people, which was Amazon, and just said tiny manufactured homes on Amazon. First of all, that word that brings people to my channel, manufactured homes, was there. Amazon would bring in new people. Tiny homes is something that's trending and exciting. So it kind of hit off all the check boxes. So I was like, this is going to do pretty good. There's always a video that you have. You're like, this is going to do pretty good. Like you knew it was going to do pretty good.
I'll be honest, I remember that video, and when I saw that thumbnail and saw the title, I was like, oh man, yeah, she nailed it. That's I'm jealous. Like that's when you first published it. Like before we got all the views, I was like, yeah, that's a banger right there. That's an awesome topic to even be making a video on right there.
There's some videos that I make that I'm like, this one's gonna do it. And like the other one was my second most popular video. And then that's the folding house one. And I knew once I got done with that thumbnail and the fact that you could build a house in 2 hours, who wouldn't click on that? That's just interesting. I'm like, that's a good banger video. I thought it was actually going to take over the million viewed one, but that came out literally 2 weeks before the pandemic hit. So it was going like this. It was going so fast. I'm like, this is going to cream this one. And then the pandemic hit and it went,
yeah,
it went straight down the toilet. I was like, God, that was going to be my number one video.
And so you think it starts off with the topic of the video, right? Is that really where you start off? Like you came up with an awesome topic or awesome idea for a video?
Well, that particular one was because a company notified me.
Oh, right. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. So I was like, how can I make this as interesting as possible? How can I make this video interesting? And I'm like, well, the house itself is interesting. So
that's the one where you did the Zoom call, right? And then you edited that and you put in a lot more effort. I got to be honest, man, I'm tired of Zoom calls. But I think that one that you did is like a blueprint of how anybody should be uploading a Zoom call to YouTube. Like most people, they put zero effort. They literally just upload it straight to that.
Here's 3 faces. Oh wait,
right.
that's us.
Hey, come on! I got all of this.
Well, I cut that all up. I like split up one image, and I have I had like, if you had actually seen that video, if you saw the timeline and what it looked like, it was like,
I bet
it would blind you. But I knew that if I put this together and put it together right, because first of all, I wasn't flying out there. And he at that point had never seen anything. I mean, he'd seen the one video about tiny homes. He wasn't ready to fly me out there. I mean, he wasn't ready for that. But once he saw how much traction, because he asked other YouTubers to make videos for him, and they did okay. But my video keeps getting views, keeps the engine going. He still gets a ton of traffic because of my original video. So when he was like, you want to do another one? I'm like, yeah, let's do another one. So he was like, he was like, whatever you want, where do you want to stay? I'm paying for it,
If you watch Shark Tank, a lot of people go in there and like, yeah, we had a video go viral and we saw a huge spike in business from one viral video. And like that can happen. One good video on social media, like that one can, it can create an entire business.
He told me that I turned his company into a multi-million-dollar company because of my video.
That's so wild.
Do you keep checking the mail for your check?
I get a check.
Oh, nice.
I get a check.
Okay,
that.
good.
So I'm happy with that one.
Yeah, I mean, talk about like alternative, like creative ways to make money off YouTube. You definitely found one there, sort of making these promotional videos in a way for up and starting real estate companies, kind of.
Yeah, I got one of the.
Describe it.
Well, one person said, "Boy, this was a nice glorified infomercial," and I was like, "Whatever, you watched it. Thank you." Make sure you click that affiliate link at the bottom.
Yeah, whatever, man. I kept you watching for 12 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think one of them was 14 minutes. You know, I don't know, whatever. Just thanks. Yeah, the first one was 13 minutes, and the second one was 14 minutes. So.
Yeah. What do you think about the how long videos should be on YouTube? Do you purposely try to make them 12, 14 minutes if you can?
I just make them. I anything over 8 minutes, I don't care. You know, honestly, I like if it's done in 12 minutes, I'm like, whoo, yay! If it's done in 10 minutes, what you know, I just at least above 8 minutes for myself. For myself. Yeah. But before I like was making these particular type of videos, I was like 5, 7 minutes, maybe. You know, I don't want to make it boring.
Right. Yeah, they have to be interesting.
If they're boring me, they're boring the viewer.
Yeah. I've had a few videos that I've made recently that I was really proud of them. I thought they're good videos, but they're pretty short by my standard. They're literally like 5 minutes long. And one thing I want to try moving forward is if I only have enough content for a 5-minute long video, I'm going to try like cramming in kind of like 2 different topics into one video. So like do 5 minutes about one topic and then segueing into another topic just to try to get that 10-minute long video.
One thing that I did though with
topics?
Sounds
confusing.
Well, no, okay, so that can kind of tie together. So I wanted to make one about interest rates, how low interest rates are going to go. That's going to be my next video. How low do I think they're actually going to go before they kind of hit rock bottom? Let's say I can only do 5 minutes of content on that. Then I could also talk about inflation and how inflation works. And inflation and interest rates are kind of tied together in a lot of ways, and they're kind of similar. So I feel like I could easily segue into inflation, or I could segue from interest rates into investing in like real estate appreciation. You know, I can kind of combine those 2 5-minute long topics into one kind of broader topic. I've just noticed a lot of people like Graham Stephan, a lot of other people in this finance space, like that's what they do. If they have a topic that can't, like all other videos are 10 minutes plus. They don't have any 4-minute long videos or 5-minute long videos. And that's definitely a growing trend on YouTube, that if you have a 3-minute long video, it's hard to get much traction on YouTube.
Oh, but did you see that YouTube has come out with a new feature that's going to be like it's going to be like, it's called YouTube Shorts.
For Snapchat, like, or no, not Snapchat, for
TikTok.
the TikTok.
Like TikTok.
Yeah.
To compete against that.
Uh-huh.
When's that coming out? I've kind of heard about it, and I didn't really look into it.
I don't know a ton about it. I was supposed to be in the call yesterday, and ended up having to do like real estate and be a realtor and do an inspection and stuff. So I missed the for my group, my YouTube group. But I'm gonna find out more about it when I do. I'm gonna share it with everybody. But it's supposed to be like a TikTok type of thing. My whole thing is my brain cannot wrap around short content. Like
right.
I can't. I don't know. I just can't do that quick. You know, but the one thing I could say about TikTok that's so different from other social media sites, like whenever you look at Instagram, it's very glossy, filtered, expensive looking, you know. When you look at Facebook, it's you know, produced, you know, burned in captions, all these things to try to get your attention. When you go on TikTok, it's like they go into their bathroom, they hold the phone up to the mirror and they're just talking to the mirror like they're talking to you. I'm like, this is the lowest bar of entry ever. And it's so highly entertaining. And it taught me a big lesson in the fact that maybe, just maybe, we're overthinking this crap. And we're putting, like for myself, I spend a lot of stupid time editing. Maybe I need to dial that back a little bit and be a little bit more organic and earthy. And you know what I'm saying? Like, be a little bit more realistic. Maybe I should kick in the door of my bathroom and hold up the phone and do one of these.
Right. Yeah, every now and then, like that could be a series. Like you have one bucket of content where it's just much more casual and just rough edits, just jump cuts, and like that's it.
Yep. Instead of being so stuffy behind my chair.
But the pacing on TikTok is pretty rapid for most of the content too. And that's kind of one of my things I want to work on is my pacing. I talked to Rebecca this morning about that, how do you make boring content exciting?
Yeah.
Not like Casey Neistat pacing, but because he's like talking real quick and then 1 second he's over here. Like he just mid sentence, sometimes it feels like but he keeps he keeps you engaged that way. And I'm trying to work on more of a.
But I find that even in real estate, if you look at one of my tiny home videos, just having a pause in your speech with some kind of graphic of like a statistic. Like, because when I'm out and about doing a home tour, I'm not going to remember that statistic. People can read. So I would put up there like over 27% of millennials say that they would be interested in purchasing a tiny home in the next 4 years, and then I will put the quote of the article at the below that. People read that stuff, and if you can actually fill in about 15 seconds there, and people are still interested and will watch it. Sometimes they'll read. Actually, you'll see in your analytics they'll bump it up. It was one of those things that was hard. Like I actually was like, I don't know if I should do this because I'm so but people want to spend a little time just to sit back and take in the content. So Malcolm, you even said that you're like, oh, that was pretty smart for you to put in those statistics from the one tiny home video. So it just to have that pause in your speech with maybe just a little bit of music was a statistic. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I remember that. You had is like cell phone footage, slow motion of you walking through the house, and then just showed some stats, and there's no speaking or anything, but it is a pattern interrupt. I stopped like watching, and I actually had to read that, and it was nice. It was a nice relaxing moment. And I've been doing something similar to that, where especially if I have kind of a boring topic, I can't come up with some B-roll or anything for it. I'll just have like a colored card go over the screen and then just some text appear with some stats or whatever it is, or a quote or a definition of a word, and just like 10 seconds of just this card with text on it. And then I jump back into my regular shot. And I've seen other YouTubers do that, and I really like that feature, and I've been doing that on my videos as well. It's super simple, right? But it's just something to keep you more engaged rather than just staring at somebody's face the entire time.
Right.
What is it? They say 8 to 10 seconds, something should change.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I think I've read that. I think Jeremy posted that on a comment yesterday.
But I've seen people that have 27 seconds of just them sitting there talking to you like this.
Everything's different. Yeah. I've noticed that Daryl Eves, his last videos in like the last few months, they're much more rapid and boom, 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 boom. Kind of like what you're saying, like every 8 seconds, there's a cut and something else going on. Like that's the direction that he's moving in with his content as well. And if it's good enough for Daryl Eves, like, yeah, I'm willing to give that a try.
I think he knows what he's talking about.
I was going to say, I heard that he's pretty decent.
Yeah, I think he knows what he's talking about.
I think he knows.
One thing I want to do that is so I'm moving actually this Sunday, and I'm going to get a new studio set up. And I want to have, so right now I've got like one background that is like presentable I can show to people, but I want to have a few different ones in my office so I can like talk here and then move my camera over here and then move my camera over here and just kind of get different angles of my office and just kind of jump back.
Like a news broadcast?
Yeah, like you're like, I mean, like if you really want to be funny, have it like you have like a GoPro going up your nose. You can have one like going down.
And you're like,
one right in your ear.
And that is how the cat destroyed the alligator. Next up, and then it cuts to this camera over here.
Did you see the GoPro 9? Like I'm gonna get it.
I know. I'm like, oh, I have a 7. I'm like,
well, my GoPro now, literally the dog ate it.
Oh.
Ooh.
The dog ate it. Like, can you see that?
Oh no.
Ouch.
Look at that. Yeah.
She bit right through it. So and let me just tell you how old it is.
Oh, I have a 3+ around here somewhere.
So I think I deserve a new one.
I think it's about time.
They'll give you $100 for that.
Really?
Yeah. Google like GoPro trade-in. And they're like, send us any old camera or GoPro and we'll give you $100 off the new one.
Shut up. I'm doing that.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, you just mail it to them and apparently you can get it for $300 instead of $400.
So Rebecca says, I've been playing around with sound effects lately.
I know.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I think that can really help out. You got to be careful though, because if you make those volumes
like,
too loud or
or
annoying,
cartoony.
it could destroy a video.
I'm
You have
gonna
a
tell
great
you
video.
I'm going to tell you an interesting statistic. I had a video about manufactured homes. At the beginning, I had these bells that whenever a mean comment about manufactured homes came up, it would go ding, 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 ding. I did this. Apparently, I have a lot of people that are in that age that need hearing aids. Or they're using in their earbuds and they're like, turn on your, I mean, this is going to make your earbuds bleed. Like my eyes are bleeding from these bells. And I took because I don't know if anybody knows this, but you can actually edit out like the front or back end of a video in YouTube after it's published. And it was one of those things that I was very nervous on doing because it already had like 200,000 views. The minute I took out those bells, the audience retention went poo, and people really watch it now instead of complain about it.
Yeah.
Because that was the number one complaint. They're like, good Lord, the beginning was so obnoxious.
Yeah, it can destroy a video. I've had videos that I've been so proud of, and I added some stupid sound effect every time, or even if just like the same whoosh, 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 whoosh. And if you have the volume too loud or something small like that, it can really screw it up. But if you do it right, it can be really cool as well.
Right. And you got to be careful too, is with transitions. Cause the thing is like you were talking about, Bill, is Casey Neistat, and he moves things so fast. Think about your audience first before you start jumping into doing stuff like that.
Right.
Because I know that if I was to do that with my audience, people would be like, I have vertigo. I'm going to vomit. Like, I can't watch this. I know that because my average age of person that's watching my channel is about 57 years old, And if I did that to them, they'd be like, I feel sick. They would not want that. So you've got to really be considerate of who's watching your channel.
Yeah, and you've got an older audience as well. That's a big factor as well. Like
Love
if you,
that.
Yeah, they got money. I mean,
they got money. Love that.
If you look at like TikTok has a younger audience, and a lot of the younger YouTubers, like gamers, it's boom, 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 boom. A lot of the older content, it's boom, boom, boom. And so, yeah, if you can look at your analytics, figure out who your audience is, that may be something to look at. And I've thought about doing tests as well. I've seen some people break down their videos and say, look, when I don't have something every 8 seconds, my audience retention drops down. If I have a new cut every 5 to 8 seconds or whatever it is, my audience retention stays stable. And I've not really analyzed my videos that way, but maybe it's something I should be doing as well.
I do. I've broke them down. I'm very proud of myself in comparison from a year ago of what my audience retention graph used to look like. So, because before, I'd have like these little spikes and everything else. And I'm like, I didn't understand why certain things were happening. Now I can see that initial drop of people that clicked on something and they were like, oh, that's not what I thought. But once that's over with, it's just like this. I might have a tiny spike of something like a word had come up, or I did one of these things where I looked like I was going down the stairs really fast. So people kept rewinding that part. We're like, did she just run down the stairs? And then I had a little spike there. But then the whole way down, all the way to the very end, they're watching to the very, very end. Do you know how difficult that is to get over 57% of your audience to watch a 14-minute video all the way pretty much to the end?
Very difficult.
And I'm like, that to me is like, I'm like, wow, that feels so good,
Yeah. And it's also relative to how long your video is. I have a couple 5-6 minute long videos. It is very easy to get 50-60% audience retention on that. But you're right. If you get a 14-minute long video, keeping somebody on there for 7-8 minutes straight, that's very difficult on YouTube. So like you have to kind of curb your expectations a little bit. That longer videos, your percentage is going to go down as well.
Here's an interesting retention stat I looked at on one of my videos. So both of my $1 million buyers have come from the same video, and it was a neighborhood tour.
Oh, cool.
I picked these neighborhood tours very selectively for higher price points. And I didn't want to talk about real estate in the videos except for real quick, like stop in front of a house that's for sale, just mention at the time of filming, this is the average price, this is what you get. There's a link below to find the houses. 7% drop off when I say that.
Because you became a salesperson.
Yep.
So when people feel like they're being sold, they'll go away.
And
that's a hard thing.
I didn't even feel like I was being salesy. It was just, oh, well, let me just put something real estate in this video. And it drops off 7% in like 20 seconds.
Right. Yeah, you gotta
that I talk about that. And that's scary for us too, because we're like, well, no, that's what we do. Real estate. Like, but people know that they're being sold to, even when someone doesn't know they're trying to sell to them, like me. Like, I didn't even think I was being salesy, but I was.
Yeah.
So moving forward, it's going to be no real estate stats. My neighborhood tours are going to be, what is it like to live, work, and play here? And that's it.
You know, people like, if you can involve people in that neighborhood, like if you can interview a few people and add them in there, first of all, they'll end up sharing it and be going, oh, I'm in a YouTube video, you know? So you could, I would see if you can at least interview like 3 neighbors that live there and ask them what they love about living there.
Yeah. I did one downtown.
Not only that, those people might end up going, hey, you remember that guy that we were in his YouTube video? We're going to sell our house. Why don't we call him? So not only that, you're not selling them anything. You're asking them if they want to be a part of a YouTube video. They'll get excited because they're part of a YouTube video. Then they'll remember you forever because you put them in a YouTube video. So that's a way of marketing without even thinking that you're marketing.
And that's why I love the dead cat. When I put it on my GoPro, you look really professional.
Right.
Like, because you've got this big old microphone, and people, when you're running around town like filming, people like they'll look at you, or they'll be inquisitive, or they'll ask what you're filming, and it's a great way to drive them to your channel. And hey, this video is going to be out. I plan on releasing this in a week or two. Here, go subscribe to my channel so you can see, and maybe put them just in some B-roll, and they'll share it with their friends. And
I had to be very careful because I was filming my kids at the park. This was years ago. I was filming my own children at the park, and this woman goes, "What do you think you're doing?" And I'm like, filming my kids at the park, and I had my good camera on. She's like, "What is this for?" And I'm like, it's for my community page on Facebook. I don't want my children filmed. I'm like, I was here first. Let me just film this part. Your kids can go on the swings and just give me 1 second. She was like really nasty. So you got to be careful.
But like if you had it on your cell phone, she probably wouldn't have said anything.
Exactly.
If you're just on your cell phone, it's.
Yeah.
Well, at the time, cell phones weren't as fancy as they are now. This was
way back in my day.
Yeah, this was about 3 years ago. I mean, that's like
I had a big handheld camcorder on my shoulder, and
my first videos on YouTube are from a camcorder.
Mine are too.
From my channel are from a camcorder.
Oh wow! On that channel, 2017 or so, you're still using a camcorder with the cassette tape.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't a cassette tape. It was a card reader.
Okay.
And it filmed in 4K, and I was really excited about it. It took me forever to edit because it would slow down my computer so badly. But that was the whole reason my neighbors started watching my videos, because not many people had videos in 4K, and they had bought a 4K television. They were like, "Oh, my neighbor has 4K videos." And when I was watching it on their television, they're like, "Yeah, see the quality difference?" I'm like, "No." I actually thought it looked like crap.
Jeremy says, I almost got arrested taking aerial photos of a neighborhood pool. The HOA president, Karen, wasn't having it. Karen. She had the security detain me.
Yeah, you told me about this. That they were like, "What
did you film that?"
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm a little weary to using my drone. Like, did you guys use drones very often? Did you get the FAA license or whatever it is?
I don't. I actually just printed out like a study guide that someone had posted. I think Paul had asked about it, so someone put a link. So I printed it out so I can get to work on that, because I ain't got time to be fined.
Kind of feel like I don't feel like doing it, honestly. But
my husband, whenever I leave a area, he does the droning, but I don't use them for listing videos because those are advertising videos. I do them for my YouTube videos.
I want to get the Maverick Mini. That looks like, I've got an old DJI one that have a great big suitcase I carry it around in, and it's a pain in the neck. You have to charge the remote, and you have to charge the batteries, and it's just a pain in the neck.
Mine's a Mavic Pro.
That's what I have.
Mavic
Yeah.
Pro.
So
It's small.
I get the DJ. I want something more convenient. My drone is not convenient. It's a big pain in the neck. So
I gotta go.
yeah, it's probably a good time to call it a day.
Thank you, Bill Olson.
Thank you, Bill Olson.
High five.
Oh,
Let's do it again.
Did I do it again? I got it
Other
wrong
way.
again.
1, 2, 3. Yay!
Yeah.
Hey! We're done.
We were out of practice.
Yeah, we should have
On that
practiced
note-
longer.
That note, all right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Bye.
We'll see you next time on the
See you
YouTube
around the
Lead Gen
interwebs.
show.
And if you want to watch the replay, make sure you find it on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Do I have a Oh man, I made an intro and I didn't even use it this time. I have that intro. I could have done this and a few other things. All right. Next time, guys, tune in
Next
for a
time.
new intro.
Sweet
Okay.
intro.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.